Good evening everyone and welcome to the 6th race of the Esports Division Season 1. We are here at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. Welcome everyone. My name is Felix1. I'll be taking you through tonight's action. I should be joined later by Fandafox. He is on his way. And as you can see, it looks like we've got a wet qualifying for today's Grand Prix. I'll ask if anyone can give me a full weather report. Right. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and share the YouTube stream on our server as well. There we go. Now I've posted everything I need to post, and I can put my full attention onto the track, onto the stream. I'm actually seeing a mix of dry tires and intermediates right now, and it indeed doesn't look that wet. I should turn down my audio a bit. It seems quite loud. Maybe I'll just turn it down by 1. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So the first driver starting a lap, I believe, is Daniel. At least I didn't see anyone ahead of him. No, I actually, Liagos. There we go. For HRT in the Kick Sauber. So he goes down towards turn 1. He's the first one on a hot lap in this session. Of course, this rain, throwing everything up into the air quite a bit. I have absolutely no idea what sort of times to expect in conditions like these. It seems like very light rain, considering we've got a mix of softs and intermediates right now. Be interested to see which actually is the tire to be on right now, which one is faster. We'll see. Liagos in the first sector has put in a 32.7. Behind that is Lumi, 32.9. So it looks close, only 2 tenths separating them. Then Daniel, 32.8. So yeah, it's almost equal right now between inters and softs, it would seem. Liagos 0.7, Lumi 0.9, Daniel 0.8. But that's in the first sector alone. Second sector, I think, will give us a better indication, since there's a lot more corners coming up. But they're certainly not a million miles away from each other right now, the inters and the softs. So I think we're going to be seeing drivers on both compounds for the start of Q1 here, which is quite interesting. That's probably the first time that we go into Q1 and we just immediately start seeing people go into hot laps. Not what we used to. 21.7 for Liagos. Let's see Louis. 23.2 invalidated as well. And Daniel, 23.1. So, okay, it seems like in the middle sector there's a big advantage for the intermediates. Sorry. So yeah, once you go into the more cornery sections of the track, the intermediates can use its full potential in these wet conditions. That's a 51.645 for Liagos. Daniel and Lumi have both invalidated. Next car across the line is a Ferrari. That will be Javier Martin, the only driver representing AMR today, actually, since his teammate has been unable to make it for today. There's also only one driver for Sierra and the Mercedes. Apart from that, we have a full grid, and we also have a new fastest time, an HRT 1-2 right now with Daniel Lorente. going fastest on the 150.0. But what I was about to say, we have got a new team joining us today in RS7. I messaged them about 20 minutes ago because I realized we had not invited them yet, and they might be interested in taking that 10th spot that we've had open since XA have left us. The is now enabled. And the hope was that they would take the seat, or the seats, from next week onwards. But instead, they actually scrambled a lineup together within 20 minutes, which is, yeah, pretty impressive. But it also means that both James and Morgan are coming into this race with, well, pretty much zero practice. Like, by the time that they started practicing, Daniel was already setting up the lobby. So, yeah, at best I would say they've done about maybe 2 or 3 qualifying laps, if that. So they are going to this completely unprepared. We'll see how that goes for them. 50.976 for GTZ Kiki. So, yeah, I think any sort of result for them today would be a nice bonus. Their season properly starts next week, when they will actually have a bit of time to prepare for the Austrian Grand Prix. I'm still seeing a lot more intermediates now, even though the DRS has been enabled. I think the rain is getting less and less intense. So yeah, it's gonna be decided once again towards the end of Q1 here. At least I think so. I'm pretty sure the track is getting faster and faster right now. I mean, of course, we saw the first lap time from Liagos with a 51.6, and at this point, that's 1.6 seconds slower than the fastest lap. And knowing the grid that we have, and especially considering that they're teammates, you really wouldn't be expecting a gap like that, even in conditions that people have not prepared for. So yeah, I'm almost certain that a lot of that gap is down to track evolution, because usually in the Esports division, there's not a gap of 1.6 seconds between anyone, and certainly not between P1 and P5. I think we're about to confirm that with Boompier coming over the line, it's a 49.6, and yeah, certainly there's a good bit of track evolution coming in already. He's the first one under 1 minute 50. We also have Jules for Legacy Racing, who is just starting a lap, but he's quite low on EIS already, so I think he maybe invalidated near the end of the lap last lap. Daniel is back out on track, and he's put on some soft compound tires. Mafia going second fastest there with a 49.8 wide. I'm pressing L2 and it's not letting me move up to... There we go. I couldn't move up past Anton there in the timing tower. That was weird. We'll go on board with Jules though. I think... No, he's not in the hot lap, so... Yeah, he's on non-ERS. See if we find someone on a hot lap. But I don't think anyone is. Yeah, Boompi and Mafia just finished their laps, so they won't be pushing at the moment. Yeah, so yeah, there's no one right now on a push lap. We've got a few calm moments before we go into the end of qualifying 1. 7 laps only actually completed so far. Liagos, Chriso, Kiki, Anton, Daniel, Mafia and Boompier. My apologies if I go silent today. I'm yeah, doing both the organization and the commentary at once. So that's keeping me honest here. We've got both RS7 drivers out on track right after each other here and on their first hot laps. They've opted for the intermediates, but it's fully stopped raining at this point. So yeah, they're just putting in a banker, I would say, to have something on the board, and then they'll go onto the soft compound tire later, and that will be the actual relevant lap. But with the track, yeah, at this point fully dry, at least visually. Of course, there's still going to be some evolution here. The track right now is very green, and not rubbered in whatsoever. Yeah, but with the track fully dry, I'm expecting that the times are going to be a good bit faster than what we saw earlier. 18.6 middle sector, and Morgan is actually invalidated. We've got Tom on a hot lap as well as he slides through turn 1 there. You can definitely tell that the track, even though it looks dry, visually, it's not fully dry conditions yet. As he goes up the hill over a rouge into Radion. He's able to keep it fully flat without any sort of concern. And here we go, James over the line. That's gonna be a 1:47.776, and yeah, indeed, that's almost 2 seconds faster than Boom here. The track has evolved quite a bit at this point. We've got Daniel right behind one of the Red Bulls. That's Franik Gizioni for IRT on an outlap. So we'll still move with Daniel here, who will put in his first competitive lap time of the session. Well, his first lap time of the session. He invalidated his first one, I believe. And I reckon he'll go top here. He'll be the first one on a soft tire lap. At least in the, once it's actually dry. So, there he goes. That's a 1:45.644, and of course, that's easily fastest. He's another 2 seconds faster than James. And we've got more cars crossing the line. That's Thomas Barcher for GT10. That's a 44.942. 7/10 clear of Daniel on pole position. Now we've got NLR Tom coming into the bus stop chicane. 6.5 minutes to go. The third driver on a dry compound lap in the dry. And that's going to be a 1:43.964. A full second clear of Thomas there in first position for Tom. Javier Martin starting a lap now. Running with a purple first sector. Janes coming into the bus stop chicane as well for EVR. Braking at the 100-meter board, gets the car rotating onto the apex. And back onto the power. The air is enabled. Over the line, it's a 44.083, second fastest. Back to the pit lane for Morgan Edwards. Toby into the bus stop chicane now for Legacy Racing, currently 14th. Of course, hasn't put a lap time in, so he's gonna jump all the way up the field here. That's gonna be a 44.776, fourth place for Toby. Next one who I see coming across the line. Oh, now we've got Geekin coming into the lobby. That's Sierra now with 2 drivers as well. So AMR, the only team in this lobby without both drivers in attendance. I think Geekin was having some connection issues, but he's able to make it just in time for the end of Q1. So he's not going to be able to put in the bank lap, but he's going to be able to put in a lap right at the end as Kiki goes top. 43.506. 4/10 clear of Tom in second place. AMR, Javier Martin currently of course down in last place with no lap time. And there we go, Geekin is also now taking control of that Mercedes with 4.5 minutes left to go in Q1. Just in time for the final run. And Javier is not going to finish the lap. He goes back to the pit lane. Thomas is also on an in-lap. Lumi behind that on an in-lap. Tom behind that also on an in-lap. I don't think anyone is pushing right now. Yeah. We've got Mafia though, he's about to start a lap. Currently 10 fastest on the 49.9 from earlier, which I believe would have been set on intermediates. Yeah, intermediates on the tire, intermediates on the car earlier for Mafia. So he's got a lot of time to gain. And you can tell now that the track is a lot more dry. The car seems a lot more stable as he goes through the first corner than we saw earlier. But he might have got a bit early here, I would say, because there's still a bit of time left for the track to dry out a little bit more, for some rubber to be laid down, you know. And he's gone with 3.5 minutes to go. We'll see if that backfires on him. Of course, he's a full second up in the first step, but he drives to the gravel a little bit on the entry into the Lecom. And bottoms out on the curb as well on the exit. That certainly cost him a bit of time. Front right lockup as we go into Bruchel. Keep it 5th gear. Oh, but into the gravel with the rear right tire. And immediately gets punished for it. The car going around. He's not able to catch it in time. And yeah, just ever so slightly picking up some gravel there on the exit of the corner. Just dipping the rear tire into the gravel, and you could tell immediately The traction, of course, gone completely. Thankfully for him, no damage in the car. He can just turn the EAS off. Yeah, cool down the tires a bit from the spin and go again. But he's gonna have quite a bit of tire wear on that soft compound now. Jules also starting his run now for Legacy Racing. Hasn't put a lap in yet. At the moment he is 15th with that. And yeah, not actually knocked out despite not having a lap, but of course Franek, Geekin, Morgan, Javier are all gonna be coming out the pits as well soon to get one final run here in qualifying 1. The top 15 going through the Q2, the bottom 4 going out. 30.996 in the first sector. 43.506 to beat for pole position. And I would say it's possible for every single driver in this lobby to beat that. The track will have evolved even more. So we go into the last 2 minutes. Now everyone is on an outlap. Apart from Toby, he's coming out the pit lane just now. He's left it very late. So Toby's gonna have, if he makes the line, which I think he will, he's at about 10 seconds of buffer, so just about enough to get those tires warmed up properly. Yeah, if he gets over the line, he will have the perfect track. Well, not perfect, but he will have the best track out of anyone. 14.2 middle sector for Jules. And of course, he's the first one to finish a lap here, which means he will have the, well, I wouldn't say wettest track, but the least dry track. Everybody else will have a bit more rubber put down up ahead of them, and a little bit more traction available for them. And those few thousandths of a second could be a deciding factor. That's a 42.321. He goes fastest, but will he stay there? So, the next car finish lap. There's Phantom Fox, just at the end of Q1. Welcome. Next car across the line is Thomas Belcher for GT10 here. Just coming through, or coming into Puon. And he's gonna keep it fully flat. Invalidates! And that should be him out of Q1, because the track, of course, has evolved massively in the last few minutes. And that could be the end of qualifying already for Thomas. Unless enough other drivers behind him also invalidate. And welcome in, Phantom Fox. Have you loaded into the party by now?
Hello.
Yes. Yes. Welcome. Perfect timing. Just the end of Q1 when it starts to get interesting. We started off wet and now it's gotten dry at the end of qualifying 1. So the times are gonna be massively improved now. So essentially the order you're seeing on the left is entirely relevant. It's just gonna change everything. Thomas back in the pit lane after the invalidation. He's in big trouble now. Tom coming across the line. And he puts in a 41.584. Jules back into the pit lane. Of course, he already did this lap earlier. We've got RS7 James over the line. Third fastest, 42.4. Daniel Lorente is invalidated. Anton Chibatorov for Sierra coming into the battle chicane. Currently 14 fastest. And he goes over the line with a 41.515. Goes top. And look at that massive group we've got entering the final sector just now. As they are all going to be crossing the line. This is going to be the deciding moment in qualifying to decide who makes Q2 and who does not. Daniel Lorente did, of course, invalidate. He's out at this point. Thomas Belcher is now the 14th with no more lap coming from him. He's also in big trouble here.
Morgan Evans with a massive slide up the final corner, but he does go 6th fastest.
Geekin in 14th, 15th now, he's very much in trouble. As we've got Toby over the line. He stays 17th fastest, and Mafio's the last one still going, but he's already through. So, coming to the end of Q1, it's Geekin out in P16, and the rest will have to go through once we have the full result. was all decided right in the end. So many drivers crossing the line together, impossible to keep track of everything. Anton has gone top ahead of Tom, Kiki, James, Christoph, Franek, Javier, Boom, Pierre Morgan, Daniel, Hulz, Louis, James, Diagos, and Mafia, who are through to Q2. And for Geekin in 16th, Toby in 17th, Thomas Baltre in 18th, and Daniel Lorente in 19th. That's the end of qualifying. Yeah, Thomas and Daniel with invalidations at the end. Geekin and Tobin just missing out there as they couldn't get the laps together at the end. And yeah, they only actually had the one lap right into death, which decided it all. And yeah, with only the one opportunity, we've got some surprises there, I would say. Especially Toby. He's someone we usually see up there quite a bit in the esports division here when he does race. Which so far I think he actually has raced every race. Which is why I've had his name like locked in as someone who's usually up there. The others, I have less frame of reference.
Is it my end lagging or is it your end lagging? Because just a little bit of
You're not
lag
lagging for me, so I'm probably lagging for you. That's not good then. I hope the stream hasn't been lagging.
I can have a look on YouTube.
But can you understand me? Like, how bad is it?
I can understand you most of the time, but it's a little bit jumpy at some points.
Okay.
Oh, the stream's fine, so it's... I don't know.
Okay, well. If you need me to repeat myself at any point, just let me know.
Quality-wise, the stream's perfect. It's not like the old Gabri Div 1 streams.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning, I have moved houses recently, so that's probably why, like, my new internet is a bit worse.
Yeah.
That probably is the cause of why I'm lagging a bit.
Have you fixed your setup? Were you still on the same chair as Div 1 yesterday?
No, I've got my proper chair set up now, so I'm no longer sitting at, like, a kilometer of height. I'm trying to... I mean, admittedly, it wouldn't even be a problem, though. I can commentate from high above. I just can't really race if I can't, like, feel the pedals. Like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but... If I'm in a weird sitting position, I can't control my pedals properly.
Behind me?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna blame my entire... Like, I'm gonna blame my qualifying, my shit race, everything. Everything on the chair.
Fair enough. I need Div 2 to be wet so I can get my revenge.
I think if Div 2 is wet, people would have learned that the 2-stop actually could be the way to go. That could be fun.
Oh, that's a good point. I'll probably try and 1-stop again and have the same...
No, just 2-stop. You can literally just go ahead and 2-stop.
See, Dylan 2-stopped. Dylan 2-stopped.
Yeah, but he didn't 2-stop normally. He did a 1-stop and then bailed out at the end. So with like 5 laps to go, so obviously that's not gonna work. But if you plan ahead for the 2-stop the entire way through, that can actually work. Because the tire wear was insane.
Yeah. Oh well, it'll be dry anyway, probably.
Yeah, knowing your luck, you're gonna get the most boring, entirely dry, medium hard, 0 safety cars, nothing interesting happening race ever.
Yeah, and
you still go from last to like 5th.
And spend like 12 laps trying to come through the back of the pack, and then suddenly PC will
my Div 1 race was kind of like your Div 2 races, actually. I bought, like, well, in your case you just don't do qualifying, I bottled qualifying. So I qualified in the back, and I was just stuck the entire race, and then I finished 4th somehow. I just kind of appeared in 4th place. Because, well, your tire puncture, that's why. Yeah, Dylan Pitt. Let's not talk. I prefer not to speak. It was a clean move.
Sure.
I was actually quite glad that I lost more time than you did by doing that, because I was like, at least they're gonna report me.
Yeah. I never really caught back to Jeremy though, but I feel like...
Yeah, I never caught back up to you either. Well, until the tire punctured. Well, while we're waffling about our Division 1 races, Kiki is coming up to the end of his first lap. in Q2 here. I still
Can
have
you
no
not
idea what to
segue that
expect lap
into like
time-wise,
a
because I don't know
couple
how dry the
quite
track
quick
is at this point.
one?
41.9 by Kiki, 41.6 immediately put in by Morgan after. Chriso 41.5. Yagos 42.0, Tom 41.9, James 41.9. That's really close there between James, Tom, and Kiki. Javier 42.2. Of course, the track like Spa, the gaps are a bit larger than what we're used to in Esports division, which is just simple math. The track is longer. There's more corners. There's gonna be more differences. Daniel over the line, 41.777. That's third place for him. Mafio actually did his first run on the mediums, but he invalidated. He's gonna go again now. Has he got enough fuel? He does. Okay. Next car across the line. Our fastest driver in Q1. Anton for Sierra. Anton Chibotarov. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I have not, I do apologize. I do my best with all the names, but I'm quite bad at that.
Ooh, 3,000s.
Very close to the top between Friso and Anton. I believe the next car across the line on a hot lap is James for RS7. Must say, they've done a good job to actually get both cars into Q2, considering they had literally 15 minutes of track time. Before they, well, between the time they got invited to the league and the time that the race started, so... Yeah, getting both of them into Q2 is a very respectable effort. And James goes 9th fastest, 42.2. And I believe that's it in terms of lap times already. At least for now. It's a quiet start to the second session of qualifying. At this point, no one on a hot lap, I think. No, Jules was finishing one, there we go. 42.355 is in the top right, but for some reason it's not appearing on the timing tower. Maybe he invalidated and I missed it, I'm not sure.
I think he did invalidate, yeah.
We've got Boompje, Franek, Lumi all on out laps. We'll go ahead and watch Boompje as he's just starting a lap. Mafio coming over the line on another invalidated lap on the same set of mediums. At this point, that's his third lap in a row on this tire. Even though it's a medium, it's gonna have quite a bit of tire wear at this point. So, yeah, that banker that he's gonna hopefully put in soon is not gonna be worth a whole lot. Hulz has invalidated again, so he's gonna go back to the pit lane now, I believe. Yeah, he's also low on fuel. Boompje with a purple first sector. We'll see how accurate it is. Of course, purple in this game working a bit differently compared to the 5 drivers you see in the top left. So yourself, and then the 4 drivers, well, the 2 drivers ahead of you and the 2 drivers behind you. Or in the case of Boompje, it will just be the 4 ahead of him, since of course he hasn't put a lap in yet. He is 15th, so there's no one behind him. And since yeah, the 4 drivers ahead of him also have all not put a lap in, purple just means he has done a sector. There we go, okay. So purple means absolutely nothing, as Mafio goes off ahead of him. 13.898 middle sector for Boompje, which I think is quite decent. I saw a little 14s earlier from the guys near the front, I think. But of course the track would have evolved a bit more since then. Braking at the 100 meter board for the bottom chicane. So using all of the curb on the first and second part. And back on the throttle for the exit. That's a 41.673 for Boompje, third fastest. Lumi over the line, 42.327. That's, well, 12th fastest, last of the one for the lap time. Franek coming into the final corner, and look at the turn-in on that, just so aggressive. F124 in a nutshell. And over the line, it's a 41.745, fifth fastest for the IRT man.
It's been a while since I've even driven in or commentated a full qualifying. Yeah, just something that I normally.
It's quite fun actually. I'm surprised how like I mean the Q1s are usually a bit dead, but Q2 and Q3 is quite fun.
I think you sort of need to have like a 20-car grid for it to work, and if you're only getting like 12, it doesn't really work.
Well, yeah, if you get 12, that's completely stupid. So. But we had some weeks where it was 16, and then like it's already quite dead in Q1 because like the one driver getting knocked out is just gonna be like the guy who didn't put a lap in.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have a well-sized grid of drivers who are also very competitive against each other, then it's quite fun to do a full qualifying. At least, in my opinion. I have been quite enjoying the full qualifying this season. I believe Tom is on another hot lap. Yep, he's just coming into the first corner here. Currently 8th fastest, which would see him through into Q3. But I would say he's far from being safe on a 41.946 there. So he's gonna have to try and improve a little bit. Of course, the first laps in Q2 most often are done on used tires. So we could see some major improvements from people now. 60 thousandths gained in the first sector for Tom, as he sends it through Lecom in 5th gear there, all over the curbs using all of the track that's available to him. And into Bruchel, down to 3rd gear, bit of a front right lockup there, but it could be a spectator glitch because the car still turned in quite nicely. Of course it's a glitch on the F1 game that the tires lock up even though they have not locked up for the driver. Into Porn he goes, fully flat in 7th gear. And now braking just in the start of that curb on the left hand side, using a bit of it for rotation as well. And at the end of Sector 2, he's going to be up by 5.5 tenths. So a really good lap from Tom so far. He's on for provisional pole position. If he brings this over the line, that will be a 0.4 or 0.3 even. But we'll see. Maybe he can gain even more in the final sector. Into the bus stops he goes. 100-meter board, the braking reference. All over the curb on the first part and the second part. Bit of a wobble on the exit. That's cost him maybe a 10th or so. But over the line, that's still a 41.256. And that's first position for NLR Tom. Right now, looking at the NLR 1-2 with Tom and Chriso in 1st and 2nd. HDX James up by 70 thousandths in the first sector. He's really throwing the car through Lecom there. Being very aggressive on the steering. Kiki for GT10 also coming up near the sector 2 here. You can see his delta time in just a moment. Currently he's 9th fastest, so he's going to need improvement, and it's coming. 3.5 tenths gained in the middle sector for the GT10 driver. Both EVR drivers on laps as well right now. Mafia just coming into the first corner, as James is coming through sector 2. We'll quickly see James' sector time and then go back to Kiki as he finishes his lap. James is up by 1.5 tenths, but drives through a bit of gravel there as Kiki comes out the final corner. And he goes 4th fastest, 41.605, almost 4 tenths gained. I'm not sure that's going to be enough there in 4th place. James has abandoned the lap. Bookia retiring in the pit lane. He thinks he's safe. I'm not so sure about that.
Unless he decided left to go out. It's only 1 minute 55 on the clock. He would have been kind of close.
Anton is also cutting it very close. He tires as well with a 41.518. Chris ahead of him doesn't think he's safe. Currently on board with Mafio as he is, well, down 15th without a lap time. He's going to be knocked out in Q2.
Oh,
and I think that's it for him. Yep. He might have one more lap next time around if he has enough fuel, which he does. But it's going to be on a used set of tires, and on a track like Spa, which is so long, of course, you get so much tire wear over a lap distance. He's going to have quite a tough time to try and put a good enough lap time in for the top 10. Right now the benchmark, a 42.059 from Liagos, but I'm sure that's going to be knocked down a bit in the next few minutes. We've got James, Liagos, and the other James, all on hot laps right now. Javier coming over the line as well, from P9 to P12, everybody starting their laps now, or already on their laps. Morgan Edwards, Franek, Daniel, Chrisu, Lumi, Jules, all also on out laps. As well as Mafia, who's going to go for another lap on the same set of tires. So everyone, apart from Boompier, Anton, Tom, and I think Kiki's done as well, back out on track to put in one more lap right into death of Q2.
He was just 2 tenths up at the minute. The Argos was 1 tenth down after sector 1.
So the Argos could be in big trouble here. As James is looking to save himself. Goes into the bus stop now. Aggressively shifting now, of course.
That's in the gravel. And that's his qualifying probably over. You think one of the people behind him will improve.
James goes second fastest there as he gains 5 tenths. He should be safe with that. Meanwhile, RS7 James, currently in 11th, he needs some improvement here. Up by 2 tenths in the middle sector. That's gonna cut it close with Liagos, who is just on the verge of being knocked out himself. Javier Martin up by 4 tenths though. Lumi up by 2 tenths in the middle sector. Mafio up by 1.7, but he put in the 45.5 earlier, so he's of course got loads of time to gain. Liagos is done in 10th place. James
to the line.
41.717, 8 fastest. Liagos out in Q2. Javier Martin, he goes 6th fastest. Now Franek is on the verge of being knocked out, but he's finishing a lap right now. Mafia over the line as well. Does not do enough. He's 12th fastest. Franek over the line. 41.571. That's P5. Now James on the verge of being knocked out as Lumi. Who is gonna... Yeah, he's invalidated. We've got the 2 Venox drivers, Lumi and Daniel, at the end of their laps. It's Venox against RS7 here to decide who reaches Q3, and I think Daniel might have just lost it on the last corner. Yes! Only 11 fast, it's not enough for Daniel. Morgan is safe, James on the verge of being knocked out there, and here comes Lumi over the line. Doesn't do enough.
Only 12.
41.878. And RS7 hold on by the skin of their teeth with both drivers, Morgan and James. And meanwhile, Velox on the other side of the same situation. Just about both drivers knocked out there. Daniel in 11th with a 41.777, Lumi 41.878 in 12th. And to think, Daniel is 5 tenths off Tom in first position at Spa. At a track like Spa, you're 5 tenths off and you're knocked out. Mafio on the used tires, they're not able to go faster than a 41.9. He is 13th at the end of Q2 here. And the rest
Lumi was
of the results, Liagos in 14th, the first one not in the 141s, and Jules for Legacy Racing with no lap time set at the end of Q2. James, Morgan, Boompier, Javier, Kiki, Franek, Anton, Chriso, James, and Tom have reached Q3.
Yeah, Lumi was all over the curb in the chicane in the middle sector. He had a bit of a slide, cost him maybe 2 tenths, which was maybe what knocked him out there.
Right, I've been asked by Tommy for an invite, so I'll just drop him on quickly. I hope I have him added. I think I do. Yep, there he is. Okay.
Well, 12 points here. Who's your prediction for pole?
I'm gonna back Tom, of course. I have to back my boys. So it's gonna be Tom P1, Crystal P2. I'll also accept the other way around. I'm not picky. But Anton has also been really strong. He's been up there in both Q1 and Q2, so one to look out for, I would say. Who would you say? Who has impressed you the most so far?
Well, I'm really not sure on everyone's pace, so I'm going to go for the mathematical option. I'm going to say James for pole, which gives me a 20% chance instead of 10%. So.
Surely that's cheating. You can't just say James. You have to specify now.
James for pole. Over the it was James that was 9th or 10th for RS7. I think Haas James or ATX was I think second or third, so we'll go for them.
Yeah, ATX James for EVR has also been quite impressive so far in qualifying. But it could be any of these 10, that's the thing. It's pretty close on pace, I would say, in the esports division. So with the right lap, yeah, anyone could be ending up on pole position. ATX James is going to be the first one starting a lap. As he is going to come down to the bus stop here. Should be 2 runs for everyone in Q3 here. 12 minutes around Spa, you're not going to get more than 2 in. And James, over the line, starts his final qualifying session of the day. Bit of a lock-up down towards turn 1 there, and a bit of a wobble on the exit as well. And now down towards the legendary Eau Rouge and Radion complex. Of course, on the F1 game, easily flat. Not even worth thinking about a lift, even in the wet, and certainly not in the dry. DRS enabled down the Camel Straight. It's gonna go down towards the Lecom chicane, braking at about 75 meters, down to 5th gear over the curb on the entry, and on the second part as well, using all of the trackers available to him. Maybe short trim to 6th, no, stays in 5th. And down to Bruchel, braking just as the curb starts on the left hand side. Bit of a lock up on the right hand side, keeps the car nicely on the apex, and back out for No Name. But he goes into the gravel with the rear right tire, and the car just snaps around immediately. And that's the lap ruined for James. We'll go on board with Tom instead. He takes us over down towards Puan, fully flat as he sends the car in 7th gear. And we enter the last part of the lap here down to 5th gear. Staying off that curb on the apex there, that would have sent you into a spin if you touched it. Braking just as the curb starts on the left hand side, bit of a tap on the curb on the right hand side. 13.397 middle sector. And down towards Blanchimont, the last straight of the lap. A good overtaking opportunity as well near the end of the race maybe. Not so much throughout the rest of it, with 2 more DRS zones coming up right after. As he goes into the bus stop, little break at 100 meter board. Get the car rotating onto the apex, bit of a lock-up on the front right. And over the line for Tom. That's going to be a 1:41.169, the fastest time we've seen today. And of course, Tom goes top. Morgan, 41.824. Crystal behind, 41.728. Then we have James, of course, he spun out earlier. So he's going to be, yeah, uncompetitive, 59.876. But he still finished the lap. I guess he wanted to have the Delta available to him to see how he's doing on the second run. But yeah, from No Name onwards, where he spun, is going to be rather useless. Kiki.
James is using overtake, so I don't know if he's going to try and go for another lap here, even though he only has 3% now. Or just going to try and get back to the pits quicker.
Kiki goes second fastest, 41.367. Anton goes third fastest, 41.659. Franek with a 14.3 middle sector. RS7 James also coming here in sector 2 here. It's going to be a 14.0. IRT Boompier and Javier Martin also nearing the end of sector 2. 13.6 middle sector for Boompier. And for Javier it's a 13.6 as well as Franek. It's going to cross the line here. And he will end up in 6th position, 42.168. Not the best of laps for the IRT driver. RS7 James coming around the bus stop. And he is going to go 6th fastest, joins his teammate on the 3rd row, 42.0. IRT Boompier over the line.
The scruffy chicane
2nd fastest. And Javier Martin, 4th fastest.
He lost time in the bus stop chicane as well, Javier Martin. I think there was more on the table there.
Oh, and he goes straight into gravel on the exit of turn 1. You said James might be doing another lap? No, he's run out of fuel. Yeah, so James is gonna crawl back to the pit lane. Definitely no one on the hot lap now. So after the first laps, Tom looking pretty good for pole position there with a 41.169, almost 2 tenths ahead of Bumpy in second place. But it's very close between Bumpy and Kiki there actually. Exactly 10,000 of a second separating Kiki in third place from Bumpy in second. Then a bit of a gap to Javier in fourth, who's got about a tenth between himself and Anton as well. Tristan on a 0.7 in sixth. Morgan Edwards, the last one, the 41s. And yeah, the entire fourth row currently occupied by RS7. And yeah, of course, James, he's going to be one to look out for, since we don't really know what his pace is going to end up being like in Q3 now. The banker, yeah, with the spin, of course, not representative whatsoever.
One thing that I think is quite interesting from someone who is not anywhere near an esports driver or at this level is that they seem to be using very ERS down the Kemmel straight and it's saving most of their battery and energy deployment for the final straight in towards Bus Chicane, which obviously makes sense. There's no DRS on that straight, whilst it is on the Kemmel straight, but I don't know. I think I'd probably on the Kemmel is probably where I lose a lot of time than on the back straight. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think they use quite a bit like after the hairpin, so then they don't use after a rouge, since they've already basically used their deployment for that power of the track essentially, if you get what I mean. And they have to leave the rest for near the end of the lap.
I guess that also comes with the fact that I don't do a whole lot of practice, so I just sort of get to qualifying, had to guess where I use my ERS.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are so. I mean, maybe RS7 considering the prep they've had, but everybody else should not be guessing ERS. They should be like well aware of where like they should have it mapped out perfectly where they use hot lap, medium, and where they use overtake.
Do you ever put it onto medium
You lagged out for me there. Sorry.
Do you ever put it onto medium in one of your hot laps, or do you just leave it on hot lap?
I use medium like all the time.
What, during a hot lap?
Yes. Because if you use medium in the slow stuff, you get more overtake in the fast stuff. And it adds up to a faster lap time.
True.
So for example, around Spa, you'd use medium through Les Combes, through the hairpin, the second chicane there at the end of the lap as well. To the bus stop maybe, although at that point you're so close in the end you probably don't bother anymore. But yeah, of course you have limited deployment over a lap and you have limited ERS. Why waste it when you're not going full throttle anyway? You'd rather just use medium and have that ERS that you're not using there be used down the straight.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is I don't know how it is for you on wheel, because I'm on controller. If I want to change my overtake mode, I have to take my thumb off my steering and onto the arrow key to change ERS. So I can't really do it in a corner. I have to do it on a straight before or after. So especially if I'm taking it out of none after a corner race, I'm in time on the exit of the corner to when I actually turn it off. It's not great, but that is a controller skill issue opposed to these people on wheel.
Yeah, I think on a wheel it's much easier to control your ERS mid-corner as well. It's still not easy, I would say. It's still distracting somewhat. To try and like fiddle around with the ERS while you're cornering. But it's doable. Yeah. And I mean, there's some guys on controller as well at this level. I'm not sure if any of these guys are on controller specifically, but for sure there's some guys who do it at this level. And they would also be doing the same ERS management in qualifying.
I think I would need to rebind buttons, because if I were at mid-corner, I'd literally have to get my thumb off the steering, which wouldn't go very well.
Yeah, that does not sound optimal to just not steer as you go through a corner. Well, here we go then, the last laps of Q3. James, the first one across the line. currently last in Q3, of course. Spun out on his banker. So he's got one more chance to try and put in let himself some points here in qualifying as well, of course. The top 8 getting points with the old pre-2010 point system. 10 for P1, 8 for P2, 6 for P3, 5 for P4, and so on, down to 1 point for P8. No points for P9 and 10. So that the drivers do actually get rewarded for their good performances in this full qualifying session. I think 45 minutes of qualifying with nothing to show for it apart from the starting order would be a bit of a waste of everyone's time. But with the points on offer for it, it makes it a lot more important, and I think it's been quite a nice thing to do. I have been quite enjoying the points of qualifying, and it adds a bit more like weight to the qualifying. So far this lap from James looked pretty decent. And we'll see, of course, the split time at the end of the 2. He's going to be up by 18 seconds there, massively up. But he's on for a 41, that much we know. But where in the 41s he's going to fall is tough to say. 41.169 to beat for pole position. We'll see if he can go all the way to the top. I'm not sure about that, but for sure he's going to be one of the faster guys in this lobby. Over the line he goes, that's a 40.995 actually, not even a 41. And he does go top. Anela Tom is going to be answering immediately though as he goes into the bus of chicane. Can he beat James's 40.995? Over the line, that's a 140.960. Yes, he can. Anela Tom goes top once more. Javier Martin is into the barrier there. That's the end of his qualifying. Franek is up by 7 tenths in the minutes. He'll be the next one across the line. Anela Krisu as well, nearing the end of a hot lap here. He's up by 2 and a bit tenths in the middle sector. We'll stay on board with Franek. James has retired as well. So no more lap times coming in from our 7 James. He's going to be 9th at best. And I think he's about to go down to 10th because Franek is improving massively as he goes into the bus stop. 42.168 is previous best, and now it's going to be a 141.384. He goes 5th fastest. Then we have Chriso coming up to the line. 41.728 proves to a 41.372. That's 5th position for Chriso. Kiki goes 3rd fastest, 41.1. Broompio does not improve. Anton over the line stays 8th fastest, and then we have Morgan Edwards. He jumps into 5th, 41.364, and that's qualifying done. It's pole position, like I predicted, for Anela Tom. Himself and ATX James, the only ones in the 140s, everybody else in the 41s. And it was mighty close at the end there. 35,000 separating Tom and James on the front row. Kiki in 3rd place, Dan Boompje, Morgan Edwards in the very impressive 5th place. Triso, 6th place, Anela with a great qualifying there, 1st and 6th. Franek lining up in 7th. Javier Martin with the last points pack position qualifying there in 8th. Anton just missing out for Sierra on the points. And James, with a 42.0, not the best lap there in Q3. He's going to be starting in 10th position.
Incredibly close. 4th and 3rd, just 3 inches between them. My prediction, James came in 2nd. Your prediction came out on top. So
shows me no wheel.
You know more than I do. True. A good effort, a good joint prediction.
It's also a very good start for us and Anela. So far, 5 out of 5 wins. Tom takes pole position.
Driving, apparently. I did not mean for this to happen.
Ah, well, it's a restart anyway. I guess you pressed joint session instead of spectate when you went into spectate qualifying.
Oh, yeah, because I forgot it's a restart.
Yeah, it's a lobby restart anyway, so it's no problem.
Esports. This is my moment for esports fame.
It's worth mentioning the assistants are all turned off, so you might just spin off the line.
I'm skilled, mate, don't worry.
But yeah, it's gonna be a lobby restart anyway, so everyone is gonna straight line turn 1 hopefully.
Commentator on the grid. Live we go.
It's beautiful stuff. I love this part every time.
They got someone on the safety car. Unbelievable. I think the Ferrari, you get the. Look at this, the Ferrari commentator up into the podium. Oh my god, there's a massive tire on my
Right,
screen.
nearly the last one going. Hurry up.
Oh, am I? Whoops.
Right.
The commentator wins.
So yeah, that's what a usual esports starts look like before the restart. And yeah, now everyone is gonna load back into the lobby. Daniel's gonna go ahead and set up the grid, and then we can get into the race proper.
Unbelievable scenes as the commentator wins the esports race from last on the.
From last to first in about half a lap. Fair play. Right, I
I
think
swear you'll
Daniel's
never
got
see
the
anything
grid
like
that he
this
needs though,
ever
so
again.
yeah, we can just get
Watch
going
it.
in a couple of minutes. 22 laps around Spa-Francorchamps. Why am I sitting so, like for so long in this result screen? What are we waiting for? Ah, finally.
The game couldn't process the commentator winning.
But after qualifying, who are we predicting for the race win? What are your thoughts? Are you gonna stick with who did you say? You said James, right? Yeah. Are you gonna stick with James?
For the race win. Hmm. Sure, why not? I backed him this far. I'm backed him this far. We'll continue backing him.
Fair play. I mean, I'm gonna keep backing Tom. He's been quite fast throughout qualifying, and I know him quite well. If anything, he's usually better in the race than he is in qualifying. So if he's taking pole position, that's already a very good sign that he will also be very strong in the race.
Yeah, not good
So
sign for
I
the
have
rest of
high
the group.
hopes for race win number 6 for NLR. He'd actually also be the first driver in this division to win a second race. So far, the race winners has been a different one. Yeah, every time.
Well, that's just because you keep changing your team every time.
Yeah, basically, we keep winning and it keeps being a different lineup. Um, but yeah, so far it's been Gavroche in Bahrain, Sepala in Abu Dhabi, Evan Knai in Saudi, Tom in Silverstone, and Luca in no, Tom and Imola and Luca in Silverstone. So hopefully today it's going to be either Tom with his second win in Belgium or Chriso taking his first win in Belgium. That's what we hope to keep the streak up for NLR. We're only about 100 points clear in the standings, so we're not safe. We need even more wins. To be precise, we are 150 points clear of second place, actually, with us being on 275 points, AMR Esports on 125. So you could say it's going quite well for us this season.
But it is very close in the midfield. I like the battle with Sierra 100, Grandrite 99, Legacy 88, IRT
It's
84.
insanely close, yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, it's
Well, even from
25 points,
second to 8.
26 points from second to sixth. And then LR on 88, IRT on 84 also not, like from second to eighth essentially all is still open.
Yeah.
So from, yeah, AMR, Evolution Racing, HRT, Sierra, GT10, LR, IRT Esports, they're all still fighting for second place in this season. It's an absolutely insane midfield scrap there. Meanwhile, NLR have taken full advantage of everybody else taking points from each other and just kept winning. But it's not like we've been. I say this every week, but it's not like we're dominating the races. It's very close. Like
Yeah.
it's a DRS battle all the way to the last lap usually. Um, that we just keep winning. But you
And
have
then
to be
I'll
up
get
there, and
focused
that's
on.
the main part. And then you have to make sure that on the last lap you've got the EAS you need, that you've not wasted it, that you're in the right position. That you, well, for example, on Monza you're gonna want to be behind entering the last lap, and on Monaco you want to be ahead entering the last lap. It's quite simple in theory. In practice, not so much. It gets quite complicated with the DAS games. But we're now
Speaking of
ready,
Monaco,
loading into the race. A
where's
19
the
car
car
grid. We're one
division?
car off a full grid, unfortunately, there with yeah, AMR only being represented by one driver today. But apart from that, no qualifying bans, and almost a full grid, which is really nice to see. And we've loaded onto the grid for the 6th race of the F1 Total Esports division. 22 laps of Spa-Francorchamps. And it's gonna be 22 very exciting
Well,
laps. Spa usually produces some very, very good racing on the F1 game.
it's dry at the minute, but didn't they say it's going to go to wet? The chance of it going wet?
We don't know. I mean, we get a new weather report now at the restart, of course. So unless one of the drivers can tell us now, but I don't see anyone crying about rain yet. So that's a good sign about it being dry. It also looks rather dry. I mean, if you look at the sky, I don't see like a single cloud.
Yeah.
So drivers just yeah, making last adjustments. Their fuel load strategy, of course, loading the setup once again. Hopefully, I don't want to see anyone on default. That would be rather unfortunate. But these guys will be quite used to these lobby restarts. They happen every single race on F124 pretty much. With the
How much
absolutely
fuel
insane
are you
advantage of
putting in,
slipstream in
roughly?
qualifying. Most leagues yeah, just turn on ghosting for qualifying to get rid of the slipstream. Otherwise, you literally just have to do a lap behind someone, and you will be like a good second a lap faster. And of course, that's not really what we want to be seeing in qualifying, so we just turn off the collisions and do a lobby restart after qualifying. Well, we're still waiting. Eventually we'll get going. It's unfortunate we don't really get a countdown, so we just have to kind of sit here and eventually we're gonna switch into the camera for the start-finish straight. That's our sign that we'll get going. That's gonna be Tom on the
You ever
left-hand
notice
side,
the
on the inside into turn 1, or right-hand from the driver's POV. James on the outside alongside him on the front row. And we'll see who manages to lead into turn 1, of course, who also manages to lead out of the Rouge and Marion complex down towards Le Com. That could be much more crucial. The slipstream down there being a really good chance to overtake someone. And then maybe go ahead and break DRS in the first lap. I think there's going to be a lot more breaks in the DRS train around here than we usually see. Of course, there's way more corners in between the next DRS zone. Since, yeah,
yeah.
you have DRS down towards Le Com, and then you have a full lap
Here we
around
go.
Spa to break it. But here we go. Enough waffle. Ready for the race start. 5 red lights, and we're underway for the Belgian Grand Prix. And Tom with a good getaway. Kiki attacking James on the inside into turn 1 for second place. And Kiki indeed looks like he's jumped him as James is onto the curb on the exit. And yes, Kiki with a better traction
Oh,
gets
the
second
sound of
place.
spinning in the back.
That's Daniel with a spin at turn 1.
I think he crashed with one of the racing bulls.
And coming up the hill, Tom about 2.5 tenths clear of Kiki. James the good run, and look at Morgan Edwards getting involved as well there. But 3 wide that looks like. Kiki, James and Morgan battling for second place. Morgan and James on side by side. Morgan goes clean around the outside through the com and takes third position. What a start for Morgan it's been. But it's a bit of a wobble. Does not invite James back in. Chris having a look up the inside into Bruchel, though James being absolutely eaten up, and it makes sense as he's on the hard compound tire. Chriso though, with a massive moment coming from the corner there, but he does rejoin in 5th place, still have Boomy. And look at behind there, that was I think Franek moving halfway across the track there as he was battling with someone. Daniel with a move on Lumi there for on Boomkin, sorry, for 6th position. Lumi also trying to go clean around the outside of the air team, and he pulls it off. Of course, that's soft tires against hard tires.
Yeah, both Velox tires, Velox tires. They've gone
Can have
aggressive.
a look at the tires. Yeah, softs for both Velox tires.
Wow.
Apart from that, a nice 50-50 split, it looks like, of mediums and hards. So Velox going very aggressive on the strategy. And Tom almost broke a DS to Kiki in the first lap as Crystal goes for a move on James. But he's gonna get hung onto dry on the outside there. Does he have the traction to go all the way around the outside on exit? Here comes Daniel as well. They're 3 wide into La Source. Daniel backs out. Crystal now on the inside of James. And that should finally be his ticket to move up into 4th place. He's been trying to do that for the entirety of the first lap. And Daniel with a beautiful exit pulls ahead of James down towards Arush. He might go side by side with Crystal. Oh! That could have ended in tears.
Unbelievable race.
And here comes Lumi as well. Lumi, Daniel, James, 3 wide down the Camel Straight they go. And Crystal getting attacked as well as Lumi has a nice run. Crystal tries to cover the middle track, but here comes Lumi. And he's through. James and Daniel make contact. I think that's damage. Yes, ATX James picking a bit of wing damage there in the contact with Daniel. The front right end plate on that Haas has been destroyed. And he's dropped down to 7th place.
Now. Believe it.
That's going to massively hurt his chances there. And you can tell immediately he's dropping way back from Daniel. Of course, it's also a tyre advantage massively in favor of Daniel. But that wing damage will be hurting him for the rest of this race. Chrisu, only 2 laps in and he's already picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That is really unfortunate and really annoying for him. And yeah, he has a tough job to do now to try and build a 3-second gap to whoever is behind him come the end of the race. At the front though, Tom is in complete control. Look at that, he's 7/10 clear of Kiki, who has to look behind more than he can look in front with Morgan Edwards pretty close behind him. And Lumi continuing his charge through the field there. He's also all over the back of Morgan for 3rd place. But he goes really deep on the brakes. And that's cost him a chance of making a move, as we've got James and Javier battling through the bus stop. And on the exit there, look at that. That's Geekin and Thomas Balcher battling as well, a bit of contact made. Liagos says thank you very much, takes those places. Geekin though goes back up the inside. Liagos trying to switch back. And they're now... No, not going to be side by side. The exit, Geekin pulls ahead. Thought maybe they go side by side down towards Rouge and Radium, but that would have been quite the battle.
Boomja making the move on James with P7. James with the wing damage. Not looking good for him.
Yeah, James actually losing out on DRS. The cars ahead as well. So Boomja now has to really put his foot down to get back into DRS range of Daniel. Otherwise, the top 6 might be gone here. But what's helping him is Daniel battling with Chrisu. Chrisu trying to switch back. And he's going to pull that off. That would be an absolutely beautiful move. No, the tyre advantage for Daniel is just too big it seems. They're still 7% actually. And Daniel on the inside into Poo, and they make a bit more contact. Oh. Chrisu goes way off. Rejoins behind Daniel though. And all of that has allowed Boomja to close in once again. He's been very happy about that one, I'm sure. Now Daniel...
Has it costed Daniel...
Not in DRS range to his teammate though. As Tom has broken DRS at the top of the leaderboard as well. 1.3 seconds ahead of Kiki. And he's now going to be really vulnerable to Morgan and Lumi come the Camel Straight. But Tom, look at Tom, he's just flying away now. 1.6, he's burning everything down towards the bus chicane. Whoa!
Lumi,
what has happened there?
Morgan making contact.
I just saw Morgan like wobbling at 300 kph.
Oh, and then in the back of the chicane, Morgan back into the back of me.
And all of that has created a bit of a gap behind Kiki, and it's really good news for Tom because these guys can't really just slingshot past him now. And yeah, get back into Tom's DRS that way. And Tom could now be in complete control of this Grand Prix. I thought maybe Morgan and Lumi would just fly past Kiki down here, but they're actually quite far back now with that little moment they had. And Lumi picked up a penalty as well in the process of that, as he goes up the inside now of Morgan into the Lecom, and with the tyre advantage, there he goes. Can brake so much later. No chance for Morgan to defend against that one. Lumi moves up onto the podium onto 3rd place. We've got ATX James and RS7 James now locked in the battle for 8th place. Of course, damage on the Haas is going to slow him down a bit, as well as the hard compound tire against medium. And so far we've got a train from 2nd place all the way to 16th. Anton the first one, DS. Chris is now with 6 seconds of penalties, as Boompi is putting loads of pressure on him. He's not been getting into this race too well so far. Just a bit all over the place with the track limits. And a couple of moments as well. But he's still hanging on very nicely to the DS. They're in 6th position on the back of the soft runners of Daniel and Lumi. So nothing's lost for him yet. But those 6 seconds of penalties are going to really hurt him. Morgan Edwards all over the back of Lumi then to Basel chicane, as Tom is now 2.2 seconds ahead. He is absolutely flying. And Kiki is going to be under massive amounts of pressure from both Lumi and Morgan, who are going to be trying to get around him down the Camel Straight. And I think there's not much question about it. Lumi is going to fly past him. The only question is whether Kiki can hold on 3rd place against Morgan, which it looks unlikely because Morgan is also so close behind Lumi. Morgan might even get them both because he has a beautiful run coming out of radio. And he's going to get the slipstream. And he's boxing behind. He can't go anywhere. And he's completely stuck.
There by Lumi.
Really well done by Lumi. But Kiki goes off to Lecom and Morgan takes advantage. Sneaks through on the inside.
Side by side. Big wobble on the exit for Daniel behind as well.
And with that, Morgan moves up into 3rd place. But really well done by Lumi there to box Morgan in like that. Uses Kiki as a blockade. Then overtakes him himself. And he's up into 2nd place. Now 2.6 seconds back from Tom. I'm not sure he's going to be able to catch that because the soft will have been will be quite worn already. We're only 5 laps in, but it's 5 laps around Spa, of course, which is the longest track on the calendar. So you've got quite a bit of tire wear over a lap distance. And yeah, indeed, he's not really gaining on Tom. If anything, he's losing. And Morgan is all over him as well, so you can tell the soft is already suffering a bit. Meanwhile, R7 James trying a move into Blanchinois on ATX James. But yeah, nothing doing through there. Maybe into the bus stop as he has a nice run.
On the outside of Daniel. Oh, Daniel goes too deep and dive bombs into the car. And
I saw Winglet flying there. I'm not sure for who.
It'd be Daniel, I believe. He broke too late trying to defend from Chris, who went into the side of the Aston Martin of Kiki. And that's a nice chaos.
Oh, the 3 white moment there. That's the 2 Jameses and Daniel, I think it was.
Javier is losing places there on the inside.
Yep, Javier I think was round as well. He might have been involved in that. It was a massive battle to turn 1. And now look at this little roof. They're all so close together. So Morgan makes a move on Louis for 2nd place. Chris was going to make a move on Kiki for 4th. In the background, that's Daniel battling with ATX James.
The 2 Jameses.
Oh yeah, sorry, I mistook the Williams for Alpine. Time penalty for Anton there as he's running in 18th, adding further misery to his race. Not going well at all. Time penalty down in 18th. Not what he would have been hoping for. And actually Daniel's front wing looks intact.
I just noticed that. Who's got the damage then?
Maybe it was just sparks flying and it wasn't actually a front wing. But I thought I saw someone's wing flying.
I didn't get from that. He's very lucky because he went way too deep.
But in all of this chaos, Lumi and Morgan have actually broken away from the train. Chris was 1.3 seconds back now. As he goes into the gravel as well, loses another couple of tenths. So yeah, the top 3 now breaking away from the rest of the field, with Tom himself having a 3-second gap to 2nd place. Of course, Lumi is going to be on he's in a much different strategy to everybody else. He's going to might be caught on later on again once he
oh my god,
probably
Daniel
goes into the heart from the pit lane.
Deep into the chicane.
James and Franek battling over 9th.
Behind again. Look how many colours.
Oh, and Franek covering inside, moves back to the outside. That's questionable for sure. And Thomas Boucher is the one suffering from that. He drops down to 13th. Both Liagos and Geekin slipping through. But he does have a nice exit and gets back ahead of Liagos. Now Franek all over the back with Lumi and Morgan swap, Kiki and Crystal swap. And towards the back we've got a nice battle forming them between Franek and Thomas. Trying to go around us outside. But doesn't quite have the grip that he needs to complete that move. As Franek now looks at Geekin maybe. But also not quite got the run on him that he needs. Thomas though, he tries to sneak up the inside. Also not quite possible. Still stuck behind the Red Bull. But so many battles going on here in the midfield. The first stint, unusually exciting. Normally it's pretty quiet in the first part, and then it starts to kick off once people have a bit more difference in their tires that they're running. But yeah, these guys are going at it from moment one.
Yeah, there's a big mix in the tyres as well. There's lots of hards, mediums, too soft. And Kiki really getting the train from 4th downwards to the 2nd and 3rd, but he's not quite close enough.
Yeah, I think Kiki and Christo are doing this quite nicely. They've not been battling at all. They're just swapping down to the air straight to try and get back towards Morgan and Doomy. And I think one more swap they'll have done it. As Christo goes into the pit lane really early. Lap 8 for Christo. He's gonna go into the hard compound tire now.
The soft runners stayed out longer.
Yeah, he's in really early there. Normally you put him on lap 11, I would say.
Down the inst. Thomas Bowser on the outside of turn 1. There's the okay. Down the straight.
Morgan with another move for 2nd place. Once more the DRS swap. And they're gaining massively on Kiki there. You can tell the difference. It's massive from DS, no DS. Daniel and James side by side into Lecom.
Lorente.
And James. Oh, he got pushed off the tracks. Daniel didn't leave in the room, but I'm not sure he was entitled to it. And I think he got an illegal overtake there. Yep, he did. And he let Daniel back through. That could be going down to Stewards. I wouldn't want to judge that one in the moment, if James was far enough alongside to deserve space. But Daniel certainly didn't think so, considering he gave him absolutely none.
Yeah, they've lost so much time now. They've lost the train second to 5th.
Yeah, you can tell Daniel's tires are done. And with James' wing damage, he's not really able to push much either. And we've got Morgan dropping a few places. There's he's ghosting.
But yeah, going on main straight, the Argos lost 3 or 4 places, I think, on the one straight. I'm not sure if he DRS or not, but he lost out to his teammate Jules
James
Maffio.
Moving past Daniel there for 7th place. As we've got Kiki and Morgan side by side into the bus stop. And Lumi's into the pit lane. Lumi bailing out. He is finally done on those softs. Daniel going for one more lap. Of course, he can't really double stack behind his teammate. And that massive train approaching the first corner. Ah, look at that! Thomas with a send on Franek! And he's round! And he's gonna be getting that. Yeah, that was just too late in the brakes. Not really getting alongside early enough. Makes a bit of contact and he's spun around, and that's Thomas's race ruined. Just like that. And Lumi's gonna come out just ahead of Chrisu.
James overtakes James.
But interestingly, Lumi, I thought he was gonna go to hard compound tires. It's actually not for mediums.
Keegan's had to cut the chicane.
Penalty for Liagos there with multiple warnings as Morgan makes a move on Kiki for 3rd position and he completes it.
Keegan there to cut the chicane and lost out to Franek.
And Daniel's tires are absolutely finished. James ahead has wing damage, and still Daniel cannot stay in the DRS range. those thoughts must be ruined, and you can tell because Franek is all over him and he's being impatient. He needs to get past here, and he finally does. Franek moving up into clean air so he can start chasing after James once more. And I think we're going to be seeing Daniel coming in this lap, 1 lap after his teammate. Geekin also with a nice run on Daniel.
Medium runners, yeah.
And there he goes. Oh, they make a bit of contact, and they're at 300 something kph. They are all over the place. Thomas into the pit lane from lead of the race. Of course, making sure he doesn't get undercut. And more contact made there between Daniel and Geekin. And Daniel still staying out, still not diving into the pits. Morgan's in though. Tom and Morgan in. Hard compound tires, of course, for Tom, and it's going to be the same for Morgan, I'd imagine. Liagos also into the pit lane.
Bumpy now leads the race.
And I think Morgan actually has got a... Yeah, Morgan with wing damage. I'm not sure where he got that, but he's missing a front right end plate. And a 3-second time penalty for Daniel. Morgan coming out well behind Chrisu.
James overtakes James once again. Franek on Geekin, I think. There goes Daniel on the outside of Mafio.
Goes a bit deep. Mafio's looking to Chrisu now with 9 seconds of penalties. Another penalty for Chrisu. Daniel loses a few places. I'm not sure what's happened to him there. Had a bit of gravel on his tire, so I think I can imagine what happened. But this battle from, 6 downwards, absolutely insane. These guys have got nothing separating them on track here. And Daniel, I'm surprised he's still going on those softs. And you can tell he has to correct, like, every single corner. And now Anton has a nice run on him. And he's gonna move up to 8th place. And I think Javier is also gonna follow through into Blanchimont. Yep. Daniel down to 9th place. And still not into the pit lane. Finally he's in. And on the same lap as him, we've got Franek who's on the hards coming in. R7 James coming in from the mediums. So yeah, I mean, if you're starting on softs and you're pitting on the same lap as someone who started hards, that's quite a long soft stint. It's also a bit early for Franek, I would say, but he wants to get an undercut to try and get out of that train that he was in. And they're gonna come out behind Morgan here. James right behind his teammate. Franek not in DRS range to the 2 hours 7 guys. And Daniel coming out just enough Liagos.
Takes Geekin.
Tom is actually almost on the back of the train now of the guys who had not pitted yet. He's already gotten Thomas. Yeah, he's already in the train.
That is impressive.
But it's also very bad news for him because it means Lumi, who is second after pit stops, is now going to start just gaining loads of time on him, and he might just restart the battle for the race win. Of course, Lumi has a time penalty, so he's not really going to be much of a concern to Tom. But still, Tom is not going to want to have any other drivers joining him. He wants to be well clear of the DRS train like he was in the first stint. Have a nice boring race. And Geekin with a really slow run down the back straight here. Anton and Javier both flying past him, and I think, yep, that's him down to 7th place. ATX James is in, and so is Javier Martin. The rest of the field, though, still staying out, going rather long down those mediums are Kiki, Geekin, and Daniel. Tom making a move on Daniel. And now Louis himself is caught in loads of traffic as he's all over back of Thomas. He's literally pushing him coming out of turn 1. And now we have James coming out in the middle of this train. He's side by side with our 7 James, and now 8 Franek Gizioni into Orusian Radion and make a bit of contact. And James gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Franek is pushed off the track. He rejoined side by side with James. Thomas Baltrana with a 3-second penalty. Our 7 drivers swapping places. Franek getting past. Oh, and he sends it up the inside. And doesn't get it stopped just about. Side by side. Through they come.
Now here comes James.
Oh! And he pushes James into the grass. They make more contact. They bang sideboards. James gets ahead in the end. That was a really aggressive battle from all sides.
Morgan dropping
yellow
down
flags.
Down.
That's Jules. Jules the spin coming through Puon. And that's his chances of points, massively ruined. He's running in 16th now with the pit stop still to make. And make that 18th.
Here's Mafia on Anton. Can he get around the outside of bunch one? Not quite. And he's going to leave it until after bus up again and on to the
Boompier
main
is
straight.
in from the lead of the race, and Kiki follows him. Anton is in,
Oh,
Mafio's
they
in,
both come
Toby's in.
even. Yeah.
Geekin is still staying out. So Geekin is
So
going to lead the race for at least a little bit until Tom, I think, is about to just fly past him on the main straight. But Lumi is now on the same DRS, the same DRS train as Tommy. This worked out really well for Lumi. He is jumped, because the next car that he's actually battling on strategy is Chrisu, who is 6 seconds back. So he's got a massive gap to all of these guys behind him. And he could just kind of use Tom as an, to pull him along in the DRS. If he can stay with Tom, because now Tom is past Geekin, while Lumi is still passing Daniel. So Lumi needs to try and get around Geekin before Geekin loses DRS to Tom. And then he can use Tom to pull away from the rest of the field and make sure he gets in second place despite his time penalty. ATX James getting past Franek.
Daniel and Mafia battling.
Kiki with
Daniel
aggressive
goes
strategy there.
Oh! And the loss of rear end. Nearly was headed towards the wall, but he managed to catch his spin.
Yeah, like I was saying, Kiki with a really aggressive strategy there, going for the soft compound tire. Yellow flags for Liagos is out!
Liagos has gone.
And we've got a full core safety car out on track! Liagos has dropped it, throwing through no name, and he's parked in the barrier. A full core safety car deployed, and that throws everything upside down. And Geekin and Daniel, those two have not pit yet. They are in heaven right now. This has worked out perfectly for them.
3 corners before. Yeah, massive snap. I went off him, but I guess he's had another snap, or he's to gravel and hit the wall somehow. But
it's gonna be really interesting what these guys do now in strategy,
now.
because they only just pit. Do they pit again? Tom does. Of course, Geekin and Daniel are in. So is Lumi. Chrisu is the next one approaching the pit lane. We'll see if he also gets a fresh tire on. Boompier probably won't bother. Yeah, he's literally pitted last lap. So he will take the lead of the race. And his teammate is following him. It's going to be an IRT 1-2.
Wow. Kiki stays out as well as James. Javier Martin, I think, is staying out. And Mafia is staying out.
So Tom's going to rejoin in 5th place on those fresh tires. Snake Convert coming out the pit lane.
Geekin is very unlucky if he's put behind him. Wow.
And a severe collision apparently between Mafia and Lumi. Mafia gets a 10-second penalty. I'm not sure if Lumi also got one. He didn't.
I'm not getting any penalties at the top of my screen. None of them, so...
pause your game and unpause.
I have, and it's 16, so...
Oh well. Maybe you go to Race Director?
Yeah, I can see them here. I'll tell you...
Yeah, I know, but maybe that will like make the game realize there have been penalties and make the notification appear. I don't know.
Only 10 seconds, little away with it.
Well, so the running order now is an IRT 1-2, Boompier, followed by Franek, then RS7 James in 3rd place, Kiki in 4th, then Tom coming out the pits there on those fresh mediums in 5th. Javier Martin staying out on the safety car as well, he's up to 6th, and from 7th downwards everybody had just made their pit stop, I think. Geekin, Lumi, Mafio, Daniel Lorente, Toby, Chrisu, Anton, Daniel, ATX James, who has gotten that front wing change as well. Morgan Edwards, Jules, and Thomas Balger. Liagos, the one who caused that safety car. And we're gonna have a nice sprint to the end of this race now. The train's completely reconnected. And so many different tire strategies now. We've got hards for James, old mediums for Franek and Javier, fresh softs, fresh mediums. This is gonna be an absolute show.
Do you think we could see Franek almost sacrificing his race for his teammate here and battling the cars behind him to the end of the earth? Or do you think they'll work together, the Red Bulls, to try and secure the 1-2?
I think they have a better chance if they work together. Because eventually, someone like Kiki on those fresh softs and Tom on those fresh mediums will get around Franek, and then they'll start gaining on Boompier. Well, I mean, Boompier's tires aren't even that old. Like, yeah, he only pitted 1 lap before the safety car, so this could be interesting to see what they decide to do. But no matter what they do,
a little
it's
bit older, so
perfect situation to be 1-2. Either they can work together by, by just DRS swapping and holding on to the lead that way, or Frantic can block everyone.
I'm sure he's back in the pit to serve his 10-second penalty.
Yep, that's a good call of Mafia to get that penalty served. Because it does drop him to last on track, but still, that's worth it. And he's gonna change onto soft compound tires.
Depends, I guess he thinks he can move, or he wanted the softs anyway. Yeah, the race is now upside down.
Is he changing wing as
James
well?
on the hards in third. You think that isn't? Oh, maybe he got damaged when he hit. Liam.
Yeah, I couldn't see from because I had a terrible camera angle, which was like on his halo, so I couldn't like on his halo looking backwards, so I couldn't see the wing change. But he was standing for quite a while, so I guess he just got a wing change as well. That makes even more sense than wide pit.
Morgan Edwards and ATX James also changed their wing under the.
So I think we've got everyone on a fresh wing, fresh tires, mostly. And we've got a nice straight up fight to the line from here. And but quite a bit of time penalties. 3 for James, Geekin, Anton, ATX James, Morgan Edwards and Thomas Malcher. 6 for Lumi and then 9 for Chrisou and Daniel.
Who you predict now to win?
I'm sticking with Tom.
Seeing as ATX James is down in 14th, I'll go Bumpja. I reckon he can he hold on? You will see. Can he work together with his teammate to take home the win for IRT?
I think that the main contenders here are Boompje, since of course he has the lead on track, and his tires aren't too bad, unlike Franek. Kiki on the fresh softs and Tom on the fresh mediums. I think those are our 3 guys to look out for here. Of course, it's not like you can rule out the rest of the field. It's a very open scenario right now. But I do think Boompje, Kiki and Tom are in the best positions here. So, safety car's been called in. Boompje gets to control the pace until the restart of the race. And we'll have a nice sprint to the end of lap 22. And we'll see how IRT play this. If they try and hold on to the 1-2, or Franek's gonna just start blocking everyone.
James has lost places and he's taken them back now. Chaos at the back.
Boompje now coming into the bus stop. But he's still not gone. He's going on the exit. And Kiki with a great restart gets James before the line, has to give it back. And that's gonna cost him the momentum to overtake him to turn 1. That's not worked out well for Kiki there. Suffering from success, you could say. With too good of an exit. And yeah, he just has to give it back because he passed him before the line. Geekin getting past Javier Martin down towards Eau Rouge. Great restart by him. But now look at Kiki with the run on James. Moves up on the 3rd, and here comes Tom as well, following through crucially. Staying with Kiki. And Kiki maybe even having a look at Franek around the outside. No, can't get past. And now Franek is still in P2 as they head into the middle sector. And look at the gap Boompje has. I think I know what's about to happen here. Franek's gonna try and block this field as he holds the inside into Bruchel. Kiki tries to go all the way around the outside. And now Boompje already with a 1-second gap. So yeah, definitely Franek's gonna try and hold these guys up as much as he possibly can to allow Boompje that gap that he needs.
Good defending there.
And then just go ahead and manage it. Really well played by IRT there. The DRS will be enabled at the end of this lap, and Boompje is now well clear of the field. But Kiki and Tom are going to be doing absolutely everything they can to get around Franek and start chasing after Boompje.
All contact between Toby and Edwards for 13th.
So it's also worth mentioning IRT are not doing this in a dirty way.
Half span.
Franek is not slowing down dangerously. Just enough to get Boompje clear. Probably just some non-ERS. But he's not like he's brake checking anyone. So that's commendable as well, I would like to say. Because it's definitely probably tempting to just like stop in the middle of corners. But obviously that could cause incidents. So it's very nice to see that we're not doing that. DRS now enabled. Lumi has made a move on Tom for 4th position.
Bowser.
Tom is going to be side by side with Lumi into the first corner. And there goes Daniel Lorente on the fresh soft as well, past, I believe that was RL7 James, who's now under pressure from Javier Martin. Down towards Orouge and Radion, and they're side by side. Javier coming out on top.
Here goes
and now Kiki with a run on Franek.
Just got already.
Oh, look at this, they're all gonna start flying past Franek. He's eaten up by 3-4 cars there. Sends it back up the inside, makes a bit of contact with Tom, and I think he might be losing more places from that now.
There's chaos, there's loads of contact behind. The Sauber, the Ferrari, the McLaren, the Mercedes, the Alpine are all in there.
Yeah, that's a massive scrap now. Look at this! Daniel, Anton and Daniel. Side by side coming through No Name. They all come out alive, thankfully. Boompia at the front of the field is a 2.2 second gap. So Franek has done really well to get Boompia the gap that he needs. And I mean, like I said, the tire advantage is not actually that big. He's got 4 lap all tires. Kiki 4, Lumi 3, Tom 3. Boompia might be in an absolutely amazing position here to win this race. He might just be home clean. Yeah. Especially if these guys keep battling over second place. So we'll see how they play this, if they're going to try and work together to catch up to Boompia, or if they're going to start battling for P2. But of course, Kiki on those soft tires, he's going to be faster at the moment, and it will swing in favor of Tom later on. As Daniel and Anton are side by side through the La Source. And Daniel has a terrible exit, drops behind Morgan as well.
Massive train from second all the way to 18th.
Fools clearing Mafio just as they enter a rouge there. And Lumi with a nice one on Kiki, he's going to take second place in this race. Tom might follow through. And it looks like, yeah, we're battling. They're not working together, they want to fight for this P2. Kiki defending from Tom quite nicely there, and Lumi is a bit further clear up ahead now. Tom has to look up the inside. Kiki leaves in the room on the inside, very respectful racing, very nice to see, and they're still side by side, going into No Name. And Tom goes around the outside, Kiki has a moment, and drops behind Geekin as well. But Tom now needs to try and put his foot down to stay in DRS to Lumi ahead. He's 9.5 tenths back at the moment. If Lumi can break DRS here, he might have a chance to get that 3 second gap that he needs as well. Oh, he needs 6 seconds, never mind. That's not happening. But Lumi is almost in DRS range to Boompia himself. So Boompia is being caught rather quickly here. Tom is going to try and burn back some ERS, get into the DRS range of Lumi, just to make sure he stays in contact with the leaders. But I think he has just about missed out. Yes, no DRS for Tom down the main straight, and he's going to be really vulnerable now to Geekin and Kiki.
Oh, massive contact between Anton and Morgan for 10th place in the bus stop again. And Daniel's just behind now as well.
It's kicking off all down the field. I'm keeping my focus on the leaders, but the midfield is also absolutely insane. Daniel, James, and the other James. The three-way battle towards turn 1 there. Mafia looking to get involved as well. We go back towards the front because Geekin has a chance to get past Tom here. And in the background we've got Chriso battling Kiki for 5th. They make a bit of contact. And they make more contact through... And they make more contact. Kiki is almost round. Jesus. Geekin did not make the move on Tom in the end. Lumi has now gotten into DRS to IRT Boompia. And, well, but that's really good news for Boompia because Lumi has got a penalty. He is not really worried about Lumi, but he can use him as a buffer against Tom. If Tom can even get into DRS range.
Mafia with a nice move on James there in the hairpin. Mafia in a good place actually because he's got no penalty, so he's going to gain a few positions come the checkered flag.
Yeah, there's going to be so many penalties coming in. He could jump Chriso, Geekin and Lumi as well. Could be close with Geeko, but Chriso and Lumi he has for sure as well. So he's going to be 8th, just off that. And maybe 7th if he gets Geekin. I don't think he's within 3 seconds of Geekin actually. Nah, no chance, because Anton is 2 seconds back from the next car, so that will cost Mafio. But yeah, the scraps down at the bottom of the field here are... Yeah, they are leaving nothing on the table. They want those final few points. And I think Tom, has he gotten DRS?
Contact.
He has. Tom is in DRS range now to lead us. So the battle for the win between Boompia and Tom is on. Kiki is down in 6th, he's got a few more cars between himself and yeah, the ones he's battling. But he's still in effectively 3rd place, and he's battling
at the back.
with Franek for that.
James.
We've got R7 James and TT and Hulis side by side down towards Arouge, but I think James, yep, is gonna pull ahead. Geekin has lost DRS to Tom.
There goes me overtakes Boompia for lead.
Christo takes 4th place off Geekin. Javier and Franek battling over 7th, but which will turn to 4th at the line, of course. As long as Christo stays close enough.
And the Mercedes, and Daniel, I think, and the Williams of Morgan's involved as well.
Oh, and that's Thomas and Anton
Aston Martin.
making loads of contact down the straight. That's quite something.
There's something going on.
And these guys are battling for their life down here in P10 and downwards. Meanwhile, the second train is a bit more quiet. They have a lot more to lose, so they're not battling as intensely. But the fight for the race win, believe me, it's gonna start heating up to come to the last lap. Boompia has got DRS of Lumi, which will be really helpful to him in defending from Tom. So even though Lumi himself is not gonna be battling for this win with that penalty, he's gonna be a massive factor in deciding between Boompia and Tom. Oh, but Boompia with a mistake, and that might be the chance Tom needs. He makes a switchback. Does he have to run down towards La Source? He does not. But Boompia is struggling to stay in the air to Lumi. 3-second penalty now to R7 James.
Yeah, there's loads of contact at the back. Cars going off everywhere.
Daniel Lorente getting past Javier Martin for
like
8th there.
Wide or 3 by 3.
Tom has a good run on Boompia. This could be the move for the lead, for the win of the race. Tom flying past Boompia on the Camel Straight, and he takes 2nd place, and he might claim 1st. Well, there he goes, Tom into the lead of the race, past Lumi. Decides he's not going to play any DRS games here. He's just gone for it. Thomas Balcher has crashed down the Camel Straight. Oh, I think he's retired on track, actually.
In the end. He did have a crash and then retired afterwards. Going up a route for the between like 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 is madness.
And a massive train here forming behind Kiki. Geekin, Franek, Daniel, all really close behind. Kiki picks up a 3-second time penalty there. Chrisu, almost in DRS range now to the leaders, but he does have 9 seconds of penalties, which, yeah, loses him any chance of a podium. And Tom, he's got Lumi as a nice buffer between himself and Boompia, but he won't have DRS come the last lap. And that will make it difficult for him. He needs to make sure he stays ahead of Boompia in this battle for the race win. It's Tom against Boompia on the last lap. No one else is in contention. Chriso and Lumi have penalties, and then everybody else is too far back.
Daniel Lorente goes down the inside.
Oh, he makes contact and Keegan is round!
But
we have to go back to the leaders as we start the last lap. Tom, 4/10 clear of Lumi, 4/10 clear of Boompia. Boompia needs an amazing exit out of turn 1 here. That's because his best chance is coming up the hill and over the Camel Straight. That's his best chance to get Tom. And otherwise he has to hope that Lumi gets Tom here and he can get him down into the bus stop. But here we go. Does Boompia have the run on Tom? Tom is burning absolutely everything.
Not close
Boompia has to get past Lumi first because Lumi's not going to go for it. And Boompia does send it up the inside through Lecom. Lumi gets another 3-second time penalty as he goes off. Boompia forces his way through. He needs that position. And he does get past Lumi in the end. But now he's 7/10 back off Tom. And he's burned a lot of his overtake. I'm not sure he has a chance. I don't think he has a chance. I think Tom has got this in the bag as we reach the final half lap of the race. Boompia 7/10 back off Tom. I don't think... Yeah, he needs to close that gap by about half a second.
Morgan and James. Morgan's done very well to catch that.
So further chaos, yeah, at the back here. Tom now 8/10 clear. If anything is gaining on Boompia. Boompia does not have the pace to get back at Tom. So it's gonna be Tom's second win in the F1 Total Esports Division and NLR's 6th win in 6 races here in F1 Total Esports Division. What a season they've been having. And Tom, another 30 points onto the tally of NLR. I'm not sure where Chris is going to end up with those 9 seconds of penalties, but also with the 4th place there on track. Lumi gets past Boompia one more time there, coming to the last corner. They battle, and Lumi actually gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting, and over the line Tom wins ahead of Crystal, then Lumi, then Boompia. How's that happened? Daniel Lorente takes 2nd place, then Javier Martin, Franek, Kiki, Geekin, Crystal in 7th, Mafia on 8th, and there's what on earth is going on across the line here? Toby in 9th, Anton in 10th. The results are a complete mess with all the penalties there. And yeah, some penalties coming in literally on the last corner. I think Lumi got 10 seconds, and I think Boompia as well, because they both dropped behind Crystal, who had 9. Daniel Lorente gets awarded Driver of the Day, and he has had a very good race there, finishing in 2nd place there at the end. But for me personally, there's no way around Tom. And there he is on the podium, celebrating his race win. It's Tom, followed by Daniel and Javier.
I don't think Daniel was backwards in 1. How he's ended up in 2nd, I have no idea. The line where everyone was just like seemed spinning to the inside as they crossed the line. Really bizarre stuff. But
yeah, I have to look back at that actually, because I was watching the timing tower on the left, so I didn't really see what actually happened. I just saw like the chaos from my peripheral vision.
It's the same as me. It was just cars were just to the inside and spinning back to the outside. It was a madness.
Well, there we have it, your full race results. I'll go through them once more properly. Tom winning by over 5 seconds in the end with all the penalties from Daniel, Javier, Franek, Kiki, Geeked in 6th, Crystal home in 7th at the end with the penalties he had, Mafia on 8th, Toby in 9th, Anton in 10th, then Jules in 11th, James in 12th, Lumi in 13th, Boompia in 14th. He must have gotten 20 seconds of penalties. Yep. And
29 and 20.
They both got 20 seconds of penalties there as they came through the last corner. What on earth were they doing? Morgan Edwards in 15th for the last points paying position. James in 16th. Disappointing for RS7 in the end after a very strong qualifying. Daniel in 17th. Thomas Balcher in 18th for the DNF, as well as Liagos in the DNF in 19th. And that's that. Those are your provisional results. Very much provisional. I think there's going to be loads of changes with the steward support coming in.
Yeah.
So
that was mental.
I hope you all enjoyed that. I certainly did. That was an insane race. Impossible to keep track of everything. So I hope I did a somewhat good job. I tried my absolute best to stay on top of all of the action going on there. That was, yeah, a lot of action. A lot of action. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Fandom Fox, for joining me today.
That is alright.
And we'll be seeing you.
First time I've co-commentated in esports. A pretty mental race. So much going on all the way down the field. A safety car ready to race on its head, but Tom managed to overcome. The safety car upside down, but he managed to come through and still win. So, well played.
Yeah, big congrats to Tom, and I'm very happy to see another NLR race win. I will never get enough of that. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching today. Our next race will be in 7 days from now. Once again, 7 PM UK time, start time. The Austrian Grand Prix, which will be a wet race. So that'll be very, very fun. I hope you're looking forward to that one. And of course, Division 1, Division 2 still running as well. The next Division 2 race on Wednesday, the Chinese Grand Prix at 7:30 PM UK. And then the next race in Division 1 on Saturday in Japan at 7:30 PM UK. So, I hope you'll be racing, watching those races as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a nice evening, and goodbye.
See ya.